Cruising on the beanbag. Curiosity. Oh, my camera wants to do the same thing as we start. That's all right. Curiosity, like we were saying, the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yep.
Why?
Well, because when you're curious, we go and explore. That's how humans develop, right? We get, as babies, we learn to explore our environment because we're curious. And that curiosity is a motivating fuel. When you're scared, so when you're afraid, what do you do? What does your body look like when you're scared? It goes like this.
What's up?
And you kind of put your head in. And so you stop exploring. And so to start being sort of out there and open and kind of find out what's going on in the world, we get curious. Curiosity is that sense of I am feeling good and I'm going to start finding things out. And then we learn, which has got to be excellent, right?
Wow, like I would never have pinned the connection between someone who isn't curious and somebody who is scared and fearful. I wouldn't have pinned those together, but that makes complete sense. It's probably why you're the academic and I'm the guy who lives in a gym.
Well, no, I've worked with people who live with chronic pain. And when people have pain and they don't know what's going on, and even if they do know what's going on, they get really scared. They think the worst. That's what we do as humans. And then people forget to explore what their body feels like because it's either something too scary, I don't even want to go there, or they start to obsess over this little bit that's really, really sore. And they forget to see the bigger picture. And what I've seen with people with pain is that they start to lose touch and confidence in what their body feels like when it moves, when it's normal. And so they kind of lose track of how to move, I suppose. And then they start applying all these rules that they get told. You will move this way, you will tighten your core, you will do this in perfect alignment, blah, blah, blah. And that becomes really hard work. So being open and curious allows people to explore what their bodies can do. And then we can have fun. We can dance, we can, run, we can roll on the ground, we can do the things that bodies are meant to be doing, right?
100%.
That's my
I mean, I completely agree. Like, I'm going to relate it to the ground level, the gym sense, the physical realm. Right? It is exploration. You're like, okay, let's explore your range of motion. Let's see how you can move. Let's see how we can maybe improve upon that. Let's see what the range of motion that hurts, it doesn't hurt. It's just uncomfortable rather than actually painful. And it's just a constant organic flow. And you're like, oh, you got to communicate back and forth. What's that like? How's that? I think everybody in my classes are sick to death of me because I ask them 1,000,001 questions, right? And I'm just like, guys, like, I just don't know. I don't know what it's like inside your body. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what feeling you're feeling. Like, I could have all the knowledge in the world, but I just don't know whether you're actually in pain, whether you're just uncomfortable, whether you're kind of thinking about daisies and you need to go a little harder, right? Or it's just too much. And you're just like, okay, like, talk to me. And we can then figure this out, and we just ask ourselves questions and ask others questions and hopefully be able to progress through this thing.
Yeah, sounds perfect to me. You sound like, I dare I say, you sound like my kind of gym instructor, not mine. I don't do the gym. I am so not a gym person.
That's okay.
I like to dance. I like to garden. I like to move a lot. You'll see me move a heap. But I just don't do that, lift heavy things and grunt and terrible music on with all the mirrors and the noise and the smell and the metal and the sweat. It's just horrible.
That's not my type of gym. I like just four walls, no mirrors. It's just you in a barbell or you in a rowing machine or you in a skipping rope or you in the floor. And it's just like, let's just kind of work out. I like the whole mental.
That would bore me to. It would just bore me. I'd have to have. See, I've been thinking about doing some exercise over the winter, because that's, we're a bit sluggish at that point. So I've been thinking about getting my bike and putting it on a trainer. But I get bored if I just plod along there just doing things. So my sister, God bless my sister, who lives in the UK, she lives in Groombridge, which is in Sussex. A little town out of Royal Tunbridge Wells, not just Tunbridge Wells, but Royal Tunbridge. Yeah, exactly. Very middle class. Anyway, she has got a trainer thing that goes on her phone, and then you broadcast it on the TV, and then you can be cycling anywhere. So she's been telling me about her cycling around my part of the world in Christchurch, from the comfort of her own home in the cold. So I've been thinking, now I could do that, but I'd have to have something like that to keep me doing it, because otherwise I just get bored.
I mean, you couldn't also just go outside and cycle, but hey.
It's too cold, and that's, immediately I'll say, no, I'm not doing that. Walking, gardening, playing frisbee with the dog, that's perfectly fine. Dancing, get up and, movement, snacks are part of my day, because if I sit still for too long, I get uncomfortable.
Me too.
So, yeah. So
I'm one of those that always has to move around, and I lose my concentration. I'm like, oh, look, it's a butterfly. You're like, oh, God, Alex, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I'll fidget with things as well. So you'll probably see me do that as well, but I'll try to be.
No, God, no. You do whatever you want to do. Be whoever you want to be. Say whatever you want to say. Whatever.
Oh, cool.
Like, this is not skill, but I always start with, what do you like to do in terms of movement? And you're like, okay, great. I want to do Zumba or dance or lift weights or swim or whatever. And you're like, great, go do that. It's like, what do you mean? Like, I need to do? No, you don't. Go away. Go do what you want to do, because eventually you're going to stick to that.
Yeah. Especially for pain, you've got to find something that is interesting, that you will engage in, because the research suggests that it doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you do it. And you're not going to do it if, like me, you get bored doing the same old. If it takes a lot of effort to go and do it, because that way you can make up lots of excuses, like, I haven't got my gear, I haven't got my shoes, I haven't got the right gym gear, it's too cold, it's too far away, my car needs cleaning, whatever. I will make up all the excuses. So you want something that's simple and accessible, and preferably I like things that I can build into the day, because I don't know, people with pain don't often prioritize movement, particularly people with chronic pain, and so they may never have done a lot of movement because it just isn't their cup of tea. And so to say, I'm going to put aside an hour to do this exercise thing that I don't even like, that will frighten the heebie-jeebies out of people, right? So I want stuff that we can blend and put into the day, and it's almost like it happens accidentally. So that might mean parking the car an extra block away from work. It might mean getting up and out of your chair more often than you do. So that means instead of having a big drink bottle, you have to have your little glass, because that way you have to go and fill it a lot. By the time you've done a lot of that refilling, you'll need to pee a lot. So you'll get up all afternoon and pee, right? Yeah. And that's the sort of approach that I think is really helpful, to build it in so that it's not hard and it's a bit fun, and it just becomes a routine, a habit that you just do.
100%, and it's part of the lifestyle as well too, right? It's not like you have to completely flip everything on its head and be like, all right, well, the way you've been living is garbage, we need to change this up. You're like, no, just implement tiny things. Take the stairs, don't use the lift. Just little things like that.
Yeah, even just going out for a walk at lunchtime, or stopping and stretching, or if you work from the privacy of your own home, like I do, if I work for about 20 minutes and then I have a 5-minute break. And in that 5-minute break, that's enough time to go out and get the paper or make a cuppa, or I'll put a song on and dance away to that, because why not? So that it's like just little movement snacks. Refreshes my brain.
Movement snacks. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I'm gonna start using that.
I can't say that I coined it, but I have probably used it a lot. It's just something that we, when I think of exercise, I think, oh, it's got to be an hour. I just don't have an hour that I'm prepared to put aside to get sweaty. Yuck. And have difficulty breathing, and then have to go home and get changed. Yuck. I'll work in the garden. I'll lift heavy sacks of compost and stuff. But when it comes to actually doing that with a hunk of metal that has no purpose in life, just not. So tell me why you like movement. What is it about your movement that excites you?
For me, it's addressing demons. It's placing. So I think every man is two men, right? One they're trying to be and one they're trying to kill. The problem is they'll never do either. And movement for me, especially if it feels heavy, if it's a heavy stimulus, or if it's very intense and you kind of sprinting, for example, it's addressing yourself. It's humbling yourself. It's using the energy that could be, it could go down a destructive route, and it's using it in a constructive manner. It's basically checking in with myself and having a little bit of a fist fight and saying, no, you're in charge. You are the devil you choose. Like, it's not like you're this crazy madman or, anything like that. It's like, no, like, this is it. This is the task in front of you. And I kind of, I mean, when you got an implement that's literally trying to break you, and you have to try with everything you got to not allow it to break you, you don't really think about much else. If I put a heavy barbell on my back and I'm going to tell my body to sit down as low as I can and then stand back up with it, I can't be thinking about, oh, well, he said, she said, and it really upset me. It's like, no, dude, like, stand up, rack it in. And usually after the fact is when I come to terms with how I feel and I figure things out. And it's more of a meditation.
For brain space.
100%.
That's really interesting, because so when I look in my PhD, I looked at people who live well with chronic pain, and people all used movement of some kind, and various kinds, different kinds, different strokes, different folks, but everyone talked about it giving them some mind space where you don't have to use words, you can just be. And I really liked that, because there are lots of ways to just be, but doing a movement that's a bit gets you out of your talking mind is a really good thing. Might be fishing for some. I like fishing. I like walking along a riverbank. I like, we've got braided rivers down here. I like, boulder hopping and just walking along and flicking the rod out. And it's like the world is just doing its thing. And there I am. And that's all I need to worry about. It's fantastic. But I feel the same gardening. Revenge, that piece of weed's gone. Oh, that one's gone. Let's put some compost on. It's all fantastic stuff. And I would like people with pain in particular to think about, I think people get to the point where they think the body is the enemy. So my body's let me down. I'm a victim of this body that's not behaving itself. And I wonder if we could turn that around and say, I wonder if I can explore the limits and the boundaries and the flexibility and the whole movement repertoire that my body can do. And yeah, pain's there. Tell me somebody who works out who doesn't get a bit of pain, right? People with chronic pain, the difference is that we didn't choose it and it hangs around much longer than we'd like. And for lots of us, it bothers us when we're doing things like trying to go to sleep. So when you're exploring what your body can do in a movement practice, whatever that might be, then you get a chance to feel good about your body. Even, I mean, the temptation is to compare what your body can do now with what it used to be able to do.
Yeah.
I am 58. My body doesn't do what it did when I was, in my 20s. I'm not nearly as flexible as I was. I'm still flexible and I'm still strong, but I'm not, I can't do some of those things that I used to do. And yet I can still find interesting things for my body to do. It's great. Never knew I could fly fish until this year. I can have a spin fishing. That's the thing that we've done for a little while, but fly fishing is a new one. The idea of being able to walk in nature on lumpy, gravelly ground, that's the joy. It's amazing.
It
We're really
is.
lucky.
It's a form of expression,
Mm.
and you kind of figure out yourself in real time. That's why I like it, because it's immediate. If you sit down and you kind of paint or you think and you have a conversation, yeah, okay, you're figuring this out. You're using words, but words they're brilliant. But sometimes you can't quite put the pin on it. You're like, well, this word kind of does. Yeah, I agree with that bit, but not that bit. And it's like, yeah, sometimes you need no words and a physical expression to truly understand what is going on, right? And it's kind of like unlocks a door, and then you can peel back that layer and understand yourself a little bit more, and then yeah, okay, you can get to words and you can communicate it, and other people can then understand you a bit better, and that's good. But I think we need to express.
For that, so the whole idea of feeling the sensations of your body and the fact that it turns off the talky mind, your mindy mind, is actually borne out in research in acceptance and commitment therapy, which is the type of therapy I use, uses that being fully present with your body sensations as a tool to get you out of your head. Because you can't be thinking in the past or anticipating the future when you're in the moment in your body, feeling what your body is feeling. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
So you're doing an evidence-based practice. How cool is that?
Oh, I mean, this is just like dumb luck, right? Just kind of stumbling over some treasure and be like, guys, didn't know that was there.
But the nice thing is that I guess the research is confirming things that we've known as humans.
Yeah.
That when you're moving, when you're feeling what your body's doing, that feels good generally, unless you're lifting heavy weights. But I'll let you have your obsession.
But that feels good.
Yeah, right. There's something good when you stopped, right?
No, I like it during.
You're mad.
I like the struggle. I like I personally have to struggle. I need something that's gonna make me suffer. Like I need to do things that I find hard, which is in fact, everything. I need to have difficult conversations. I can't just ignore them, and I can't just sit down and not move. I need to feel some sort of struggle and overcome it. I feel like I've learned so much over the years from suffering in some sort of way, whether it is a mental anguish or whether it is physical. And I think it's really important. And just anecdotally, just seeing people in the gym like day in and day out slam themselves in the face and then figure things out like it was some sort of epiphany, right? And I'm like, well, that definitely didn't come from me, because I'm the dumbest one in this room. So I'm like, how did, okay, well, the correlation here is you guys are suffering. You guys are like feeling coming up face to face with an obstacle and getting through it. And some days you don't, and then the next day you don't, and the day after you don't, but then eventually you do, and you're like, oh, you finally made that breakthrough, and then yeah, the benefit to people's lives afterwards, it's so special, and that's why I kind of committed to the career. You know, I was like, I gotta do this, man. Like this is so cool, and we can converse with the academics and learn the studies and the reasons why and stuff. And we as coaches can come to the academics and be like, guys, I've seen this as a kind of a correlate here, but is it a causation? Like I don't quite understand what's going on. I hear this from people, I've witnessed things, I feel it in the weird hippy dippy energy space, but what's going on? And then you can be like, oh, give me 5 years, and you come back, you're like, actually, yes, you are correct, or no, that's just a coincidence. And then we all progress, right? Everybody's got the role.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So you wanted to talk about pain
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. What do you
Pain
want to know?
management. Talk to me about it.
So pain management's what ways to live with pain. And if you happen to live with ongoing pain, and lots of us do. So in New Zealand, it'd be 1 in 5 New Zealanders live with pain that's been going on for 3 months or longer. That's our statistics. And more women than men, usually. And people with other problems as well, so comorbid problems as well. So that could be that they've had early life negative experiences, or they have had mood problems, or they're neurospicy, so they're not your bland neuronormative people. People who are consider themselves to be transgender or in the LGBTQIA groups, more often than not will have pain compared with the average white bloke. Sorry, but it's true. And we don't know why, but we know right around the world it's more likely to be women than men. And we don't know how to fix a lot of types of ongoing pains. That's a problem. And so people often go through this roller coaster of, I'm going to find a cure. Oh, bugger, it didn't work. I'm going to find a cure. Bugger, it didn't work, all the time. And that affects people's whole lives, the way they see themselves, the way that they view the world, the practical things like how they earn a living. They lose friendships. You know, the guys don't go out at four-wheel driving with the rest of the blokes because their back's really sore. Or the woman at home trying to deal with, job and managing the house and doing the kids, just gives up on friendships because, it's just too hard. So because of that, we've got to find non-pharmacological ways to manage, because there are pretty well few to no drugs that work effectively for lots of these chronic pain problems. And most of them fall into two groups. One's about movement, funnily enough, and the other is about, we can call them psychological strategies, but they're just ways of living, really. Finding some wiggle room so that you can get on and do what matters in your life. So I don't tend to go focus on trying to reduce pain, because pain's tricky like that. It's probably better to learn to make some room for having pain, and then pain will eventually fade of its own accord. That's my kind of basic approach. We know some things rev your pain up, and that's worry. Being worried or stressed can rev your pain up. Not having enough sleep can rev your pain up. Trying to avoid doing things that hurt will definitely interfere with your life and can definitely rev your pain up. Some types of movement practice well, all movement practice is good. Regular movement practice is even better. Having a variety is even better, especially if you're someone like me who gets bored fairly easily. But what matters is that you do it. So that's why I like to suggest that people have a bunch of different things that they like to do, so that they don't have to say, oh, well, I can't do that, so therefore I can't do anything. It's good to have a choice. And I like the idea of blending that in through your day, because if you've got a nervous system that's got itself revved up and then you suddenly do a big lot of workout, you'll probably pay for it. So for me, DOMS doesn't last 2 days, it lasts 2 weeks. And, you know, it's like I've got the flu for 2 weeks, and that's really unpleasant and tiring and makes me very cranky. So it's better for me to have lots of little opportunities to move. And I think that applies to a lot of people with ongoing pain, that they just need little moments that they can build in through the day, and then they can build up the intensity and the load and the frequency as they get more comfortable with how much their body can do. And those are the key things. I like to help people learn how to calm their bodies down. So there might be some breathing, it might be doing some mindfulness, it might be about learning a proper relaxation technique. Or some people find even that the movement practice that they choose might be relaxing. So if you want to do something like yoga or Tai Chi, those practices are really great because they get your body moving, but they also teach you that kind of being present in your body, calming your breathing down and sort of soothing it. They also push you a little bit as well. Outside of those sort of 2 things, learning how to sleep well is really important. Have crappy sleep, likely to have worse pain the next day. And so learning how to relax is a good part of that, and learning to deal with what your mind is trying to tell you at 2 a.m, shut up. You know, that minds do that. They'll nag you when you least need it. So learning how to deal with that is a big part of kind of learning how to manage pain. And then a lot of it is about knowing I'm not doing myself any harm. This is not about tissues, you know, my body tissues falling apart. This is about my nervous system and its overreaction to what's going on. That means that people can start to move knowing they're not harming themselves even though they get the flare up. The problem is that the flare up is the thing that puts people off moving. So as a trainer, if you're thinking about working with somebody who has persistent pain, it's really important to build their confidence with low levels of activity or movement practice, and just nudge into that zone, like you're saying, where it's just uncomfortable. But for somebody with pain, you'll be thinking even less than your average Joe Bloggs, because that's really important, to just nudge into it, to let your nervous system get used to this change that you're introducing, and then to start pushing a little bit further and a little bit further. But progressing really quickly is going to end in tears, probably yours, because I'll slap you. Fair enough.
I cry all the time. It's okay, bro.
So I think the thing that I've heard from people with pain is that they don't like going into that foreign environment of a gym. It's scary, it's loud, it's not their favorite place. So why do we have to go to a gym? You've got a home, you've got a park, you've probably got a beach somewhere if you're in New Zealand, you've got rivers, you've got loads of places we can go. And even when the weather is foul, you can still speed walk around the mall. There is no excuse not to move. It's about trying to make that doable. So can we find a place that feels good to the person, or a couple of places? You know, if lockdown happens, heaven forbid. Remember lockdown? And people were freaked out because they couldn't do this program of exercise in the gym because they couldn't get to the gym. And there's home. It's all of that stuff and obstacles on the floor like kids and dogs and stuff. So you've got to get your balance. That you can improvise in lots of different ways. If people get confident to play and to be curious about what their body can do. Because there's a lot of myths around movement. Like you've got to do it precisely. Form is really important. When it's Joe Bloggs type movement, and what we're looking for people with pain is Joe Bloggs type movement. It doesn't have to be. And in fact, it's probably better not to have perfect alignment and all that sort of stuff. Because if you're a plumber and you have to crawl under a house to fix something, you are not going to be able to do perfect semi-squat to pick up something heavy. It's not going to happen. So we have to get used to being able to move our bodies into really weird and interesting places, because that's life. And that means being playful and curious and exploring what your body can do. And I keep coming back to that. You can do that in so many different ways. So we want to start low level intensity, lots of frequent little movement snacks, lots of opportunities to explore different things and notice. You bring your mind to what is your body feeling right now? And then progress and do it consistently. Don't wait till your pain says you haven't got any pain, because that won't happen if you've got chronic pain. It'll fluctuate. So you might have days where you've got less pain and days where you've got more. And all I'd say is be a little bit flexible. If today's a really high day pain, don't just do nothing. Just do a little snack. If it's a low pain day, don't go bananas and push yourself too far, because you'll pay for it and then you'll hate yourself or your trainer.
Well, they hate me anyway. It's okay. But that's it. It's just, I say it all the time, but work is work. It doesn't matter what you do, just move around. Like, I really, really don't mind. You can sit in your chair and wave your arms about until you get a sweat on. I don't mind. Like, if today is not a good day, it's a moving day, as we call it, which just means turn the clock off. I don't mind what you do. Just move around. I want you to raise the heart rate, and that's kind of it. I want you to be able to talk to me the whole time. That's it.
Get a little huffy, it's not a problem, but don't burst your boiler, because that's not kind.
Exactly. What, because you didn't break a record that day, or you didn't feel 100%? I was like, life is very rarely going to be 100%. We're always going to be dealing with something, and that's okay. Just work, move around.
Do something. Yeah, I like that.
Bronnie, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This has been a privilege and an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing this going out on air.
Yeah, just talking shop. If you're ever in Auckland, let me know.
Yep, coming up next week, actually.
Let's go get coffee.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, catch you later.
All right. See you later. Bye, everybody.